Look, there's this constant media thing about Natalie Harp, the president's body man is the term, except that it's a woman, and she's 35 and she looks like his daughter and so forth. So there's endless speculation, endless, all this stuff, and I'm about his age, and I'm telling you, if there's a sex tape, it's not going to be high action. I, you know, but so every president has what's so-called a body man. It's usually been, I guess, the precedent is it's usually a guy who's on like a flesh and blood brotherly type of level of intimacy that the president can feel, at his ease in the bathroom or coming out of the shower or, dressing up and so forth. And he's got somebody that's always his asexual, devoted companion. And so that's the president's right and so forth. And the thing is that with this Natalie Harp, we've revealed, and I think, there's some leaking in the White House that want to sabotage her. It leaks the emails and letters, which is, of public interest. There is a state's interest in this because they're bonkers. I mean, she's really, she's gaga in love with this guy so devotedly. And my, first impulse is to apply my sort of 50-50 law of objective physical reality, which is, and I've spoken about this a lot of times, but everything implies its own negation. And that's the Jungian thing. We all have a shadow that's the hidden and there's a bit. So and nature seeks a equilibrium and so forth. So my thought is, when you have someone that's expressing such passion, what if she should flip? Which is something hurts her feelings, and all of a sudden, as in the classic cliche, loving passion turns to hate. Then you get somebody that's right there, and bada bing. So, not to mention disclosing information and so forth. So it's a potential danger that you have somebody that's got a little level-headed that's going to be in the proximity of the presidents. The other thing that I want to say is that I think I am so wary. I understand that this is one of the big levers that everybody's trying to get this guy out of office. And one thing is his personal behavior and the sexual behavior and the rape decisions and allegations and so forth. And this is all very important and it's salient. But I think I've said before that I think one of the otherwise unaccountable reasons for the popularity of MAGA is that as far as the men are concerned, and a lot of the women, an unspoken opinion is that he's been unfairly tagged for all this stuff. I certainly can relate to it because they've said the same thing about one of my heroes, who's John F. Kennedy, and the thing is that there's so much hypocrisy when it comes to sexual matters. We just got out of an era with one of the great sort of epical shifts in human consciousness is tolerance of homosexuality. It used to be that your life was ruined if there was this public, not always, but maybe a little tiny for 10 minutes in history. It was tolerated, but otherwise, overwhelming historical. And I can see people alarmed that there's been a big change, and that's part of the thing that feeds MAGA and so forth. But when we talk about the McCarthy era and cancellation and a lot of whether you're politically correct enough. Otherwise, you're banished. So there's, I keep thinking of the list. There's Garrison Keillor, Louis C.K., Charlie Rose, Al Franken. And, you crucify people on this cross of normalization of sexual behavior, and it's a dicey game. And it just has seems that there's so much hypocrisy and inaccuracy and so much subjectivity in it, depending on particular circumstances. It's just a really brutal, and more than brutal, it's just imprecise. And if there is to be an effective effort to remove and reverse these disastrous years, I would say, let's pick our fights. Let's make sure that the fights we pick are not trivial and ill-considered, and that the fights we pick are, like a tempered steel sword, that it's not going to bend, and, it's going to be something that's really as solid can be. And I can't think of anything that's just more subject to lying and exaggeration and irrational passions and so forth than human relations on that intimate level. So that's all I'm saying. Let me know. I could be wrong. Please let me know in the best sense of scientific method. Tell me where I'm making a mistake.